What's up, everybody? It's your boy Proftrof. Happy New Year's. Hope y'all is doing good. Hope no corona this year. And we're back again with another fucking video. I've not seen any salmonella in a while. So this is Joshua Norton, the only United States Emperor. I didn't think y'all had fucking emperors, but who would have thought? Who would have thought?
This video is sponsored by Wix.
Wix? What?
This video is sponsored by Wix.
Okay.
Hey kids, let me ask you, do you watch the news often? Have you
No.
attended a school in your life? You ever look at a dollar? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then
Fucking
chances
hell.
are you're familiar with at least a couple United States presidents. But if you're like me prior to last week, you've probably never heard of a United States emperor. Excuse me, good sir, but I should inform you that we're actually living under an emperor as we speak, at least according to my degree from the University of Reddit. Hey, that's great. Whoa, look over there. It's someone criticizing Elon Musk. And he's making typos. Anyway, let me tell y'all a story about a
What the
man named Joshua Norton. Let me tell you. Anyway,
Okay.
let me tell y'all a story.
I wanna know how he produced that sound, okay? I wanna know how he produced that sound.
About a man named Joshua Norton. Norton was born in England at some point in the 1810s. Very little is known about the
England?
guy's younger years, other than the fact that he spent most of his youth in South Africa as part of the UK's colonization programs. He came to San Francisco in 1849 with a modest amount of wealth to his name, and worked his way up in the real estate and commodities markets to become one of the city's wealthiest citizens. All was normal in the life of Mr. Norton, until one day when he got a little too big for his britches. You see, in 1852, China was facing a huge famine, so they completely banned the export of rice. Naturally, San Fran's rice price began to skyrocket in response to the reduced supply, peaking at 36 cents per pound. Norton saw this and decided to buy a $25,000 rice shipment from Peru at 12 cents. Norton saw this and decided to buy a $25,000 rice
25.
shipment from Peru.
So he was hoping it would continue longer and it would keep spiking. It probably didn't spike that much anymore, right?
Peru at 12 cents per pound, thinking he'd corner the market. Keep in mind, that's around $750,000 in today's money. Little
Oy.
did he know, that wasn't the only shipment coming out of Peru, and by the time he was able to sell it, rice was already back down to 3 cents a pound. Now, according to my calculations, that put Norton at a net loss of a whole frickin' lot. He subsequently got into a years-long court battle with the vendor who sold him the shipment, which only cost him more
Wait,
money,
what?
and ultimately left the man destitute. So,
What kind of cold battle was that? He sold me shit that was supposed to be cheaper at a higher price. I think that's how it works, my boy.
who sold him the shipment, which only cost him more money, and ultimately left the man destitute. So, Norton did what anybody would do after losing everything. He drank a nice
So-
hefty dose of fuck it all and said, you know what? The courts can eat my shorts, the house can eat my blouse, Peru can eat my shoe. I declare myself emperor of these United States. And I'm telling every newspaper in the city about it.
Fair
And then
enough.
he did. Now, the papers could have just been like, what a lunatic, and that would have been the end of it. But instead they said, you know what? This guy's kind of a meme. Let's publish his declaration, just for gits and shiggles.
The papers back in the day were shit posting.
People across the
God
city
damn,
had their
bro.
laughs, and Norton's rise to power began. From here, he issued several more commands to the media, and unlike nowadays, people loved having regular Norton updates shoved in their face. Among these announcements was a decree
That was a joke, but I don't get it. I assume it's an American thing. Norton show or some shit?
People loved having regular Norton updates shoved in their face. Among these announcements was a decree in 1859 to formally abolish the United States Congress. He also gave out a
Whereas a body of men calling themselves the National Congress are now in session in Washington City in a violation of our Imperial Edict of 12th of October last, declaring the said Congress abolished. Mimi, big boy, Mr. Pope and Santa, come touch my sweet little head and call me a good boy. Then give me milkies, you can watch Thomas. Also fuck Palestine. Not an actual quote, Just
a
an
mandate for both
FYI
the
if you didn't.
Protestant and Roman Catholic churches to formally ordain him as emperor. Although these edicts were ultimately ignored by the powers they were addressed to, they still served to build Norton's reputation around the city, and before long he was a fully fledged
God
local
damn, look at that dude's beard.
celebrity. He was easily recognized by passerby, typically sporting a blue naval uniform and a beaver hat with a peacock feather in it. Pretty soon, Norton could expect to receive the royal treatment wherever he went. People started to address him formally on the streets, he got to ride public transport for free, and he even
What,
got
for
occasional
free?
tax payments from people sympathetic to his impoverished living situation.
He got
Oh, and get
donations.
this. Norton became so famous that toy stores in the city began selling dolls of the man for kids to
Wow.
play with. How many people can you think of that were so legendary that they got dolls made after them? You got Emperor
Everybody?
Norton, Mr. T, and the bear that Teddy Roosevelt decided not to shoot. That's it, really.
I want y'all to just look at the proportions on the Mr. T doll thing. Doesn't it kind of look like a midget version of Mr. T?
Also, though not backed by actual law in any way, his declarations
Yep,
came
I'm reusing this drawing from like 20 seconds ago. Fuck you. Fair enough. Fair enough,
to be
Sam.
taken relatively seriously by the populace around him. For example, according to Norton, saying Frisco instead of San Francisco would be punishable by a $25 fine. Talk to any Frisco native and you'll find that this attitude survives to this day. With the help of a local printing firm, Norton even issued his own currency, which was actually accepted by many residents of the city, despite having no backing behind it whatsoever. In fact, a few Norton bucks are still floating around today as highly valued collector's items.
That was
I
pretty
tried
cool, I'll
doing
be
the same
honest.
thing a while back, but unfortunately, Nella rubles are still only worth their weight in Nella
Nella
rubles. Of course, it
rubles.
wasn't all magpies and molasses for our good friend Josh. He was once arrested by Of course, it wasn't all magpies and molasses.
Deep fried mole asses. Rihihi. Rihihi. What is that? One Piece
For our
laugh?
good friend Josh.
Goddamn,
He
bro.
was once arrested by a policeman named Armand Barbier, who wanted to throw him in an asylum for his apparent insanity. Needless to
You dare try to imprison the Emperor? Off with his head.
say, when the public caught wind of this, they lost their fucking minds. Irate citizens wrote complaints in droves. All the newspapers published scathing editorials towards the police department.
Wow.
Stray cats were thrown into wood chippers. I don't have any evidence for that last one. I'm just, assuming based on what I would do in this scenario. Anyway, pretty soon, the chief
That's one bloody pussy.
police got the memo, and Emperor Norton
Sorry,
was released
sorry,
unscathed.
sorry.
Thankfully, Norton issued a royal pardon towards the man who arrested him, and from that point onward, whenever
royal
Norton passed a
pardon?
member of the force, they would stop and salute him. So, although in many ways he
Goddamn.
appeared godlike, Norton was but a mortal. And, as mortals sometimes do, Emperor Norton decided to drop dead on a street corner on January 8th of 1880. However, he left
That's
behind a
pretty good.
legacy the likes of which most of us could only dream of. Beyond just the comedic value of his many exploits, Norton definitely had his prophetic moments, with some of his orders actually coming true decades after they were given. On multiple occasions, he ordered a bridge to be built between San Francisco and the Oakland Bay Area, which was eventually constructed in the 1930s. He also told people to form a League of Nations to uphold international interests. Unfortunately, a man yelling in California wasn't quite enough to convince the leaders of the world that such a thing was necessary. But who knows? Maybe the little Nordo could have stopped World War
Little
I if he had
Nordo.
been just a bit louder. I hope this tale has inspired some of you young impressionable kids out there. Not because I expect any of you to succeed in the same way Norton did, but just because it's my personal belief that the world could always use more oddball vagrants. Wait a minute. Oddball vagrants. Product placement. Sponsor time. Question. Do you do literally anything? If the answer is yes, then chances are you could get a lot of use out of a website powered by Wix. You can give your small business the
it's a
professional
website
makeover it
thing.
deserves, or
Making
show off
thing.
your art and other hobbies in any style or layout you can imagine. Even if you don't do anything with your life, then hey, today's as good a day as any to try your hand at web development.
Oi.
Wix does all the heavy lifting for you, meaning even a novice can create stunning pages of all shapes and sizes. Beyond just the aesthetic aspect, Wix also offers tons of other services for your site, like custom domain names and email services. Oh, and did I mention it's free? So please, try Wix today.
It's free?
Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Sam and Nella, and thank you for watching.
Okay. Pretty cool. Now we found out about an American emperor. Yeah, interesting, pretty interesting. All my American friends, y'all know about your emperor? Y'all study that shit in school? Huh? Quick thank you to my patrons. Pedro Martinez, Command underscore Unit, my boy Rob Perry, Prince Zeta, Swastedic, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that shit, and Fewest Chicken 53, my boy Chicken. Anyway, that was it for Sam today. That was pretty cool. Found out something new, and we had a bit of Sam's usual haha up in there. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, everybody. Have a nice fucking New Year's.